Well, welcome to the Q&A. I'm going to be answering your questions for the best TVs of 2025. As you guys are coming in, make sure you ask all of your questions pertaining to the best TVs. This is the time for you to do that. I do see it a lot throughout the week. I cannot get to every single question, but again, that's why we do the live streams. I know I missed Friday's live stream. I know a lot of you guys were curious as far as if I was going to do one or not. Had every intention on it, but I just got sleepy, to be honest with you, so it just never happened. But as always, it's very casual here. You can ask whatever question that you have. Make sure that you ask your questions, and we're just gonna kick it off like we always do by talking about what's new, what's advised, what we should and shouldn't do, and things like that. So, I'm gonna drink some green tea. Wait for you guys to come in, and throughout the night, I'll be answering your questions, concerns, things like that. So, first and foremost, the best TVs for 2025. One of the things that I think we should approach it with is by category. If I just go best TV by 2025, we're bound to bump heads and people are going to agree to disagree. To prevent all of that, I'm going to break it up into categories, and the categories are going to be as follows. So we're going to have the best regular LED TV, I guess. We'll have the best mini LED TV. We'll have the best regular OLED and the best QD OLED. And I think that'll cover all our bases. 4 categories, basically, as far as panel type or TV type. Or if you don't want me to do it that way, what we could do is we could do it based off of best TV for a bright room, best TV for, gaming, best TV for movies. Which one do you guys think would be more helpful? Let me know, and then I'll go about how I'm going to structure this, because, I could do it one way and then it doesn't work with you guys as well. So let me know which way you want to do it. I think maybe the second way might be better, but just let me know. What's going on from down under? Nice for you to join tonight, and I appreciate you, brother. Hey, what's up, man? What's the best TV? Sub $1,000. I'm based in the UK. Sub $1,000 in the UK. The thing is, I don't know you guys' conversion rate that well, so I can't really say like for the UK specifically. And I mean, I'm trying to go off the top of my head. I'm just gonna go off of what I know should be around that price. I would say maybe your S90 series on sale, like the S90F. I know it can get down to £1,000, but it just depends on season 2. So you have to kind of wait, whenever the holiday season ends. What's going on, brother? Thoughts on the S90F for an all-around TV? It's a great TV. You're not going to be disappointed with it. You just have to adjust it well. One of the things I'm going to start more aggressively, I think, which will be very helpful for everybody, much like that thing I did with classic calibrations, I'm going to do with everybody else. We're going to be doing TV settings comparisons. And the value of this is to show you where you're going to start and where you're going to end. And look, you're never going to know this, okay? If you take a TV out of the box, any TV, and you put it up against another TV out of the box, you're not going to see what I'm talking about when I say your TV is capable of so much more. It's limited out of the gate. You got to put the work in. It's like what you put in, you get out, you got to do the work. Well, you're never going to see that because the work's not done for you. Now, there are clear and sound reasons why they don't do the work for you. A lot of it, though, is regulatory. So for the people that are kind of new here, or maybe you just kind of want that information just to kind of have knocking around in your head, welcome to Antonio Ochoa. Thank you for being a VIP member. Welcome to the family. So when I say out of the box they look bad, and why I always say that is because a lot of it is regulatory. And we're just going to get into this a little bit. I'm going to venture off the path. We'll get back on it in a second here. But before I do, for everybody that came on, let me know how you want me to approach this buyer's or best TV of 2025. So either we're going to do it by use case, so best TV for PS5 or whatever. So say use case in the comments here in the live stream if you want based off of use case, or if you want based off of panel type, OLED, mini LED, whatever it is. So panel type or use case, how should I go about recommending the best for you? What would be more helpful for you? Again, let me know down below. But going back a little bit off the beaten trail here. So when I say TVs look bad out of the box, what I'm talking about is it's regulatory. Okay, so every country has regulations and rules for energy consumption. And so what manufacturers try to do is limit how much energy they use by turning on eco modes. By default, this saps a lot of your picture quality. But then a lot of it also is making sure that it looks stunning in like the consumer modes. So when you're in the consumer modes, you have a lot of like, what is it, vivid mode, dynamic mode, things like that. It's centered around the blue light, which of course looks brighter than retail lights that are already bright. So blue wavelengths, as I've talked about, if you don't know, the color blue will always look brighter to our human eyes than anything else. So they target that so that we jump right on it. And that's why when you walk into a store, everything has a blue hue to it. You can tell when you see white where there's a little bit of blue in the white. They do that to counteract the bright lights in a retail environment, which are very cool in nature. Now, this doesn't hurt retail. It helps sell models, but when you get it home, there's work to do. And so out of the box, they don't do that. And then, of course, you have filmmaker mode and movie mode, which, again, they target something called a filmic look. Now, just to be very clear real quick, I might do a later video on this to break it down a bit further if necessary, but there's filmic and there's cinematic. The two are not the same. Filmic is basically a log profile, unfinished. It's, flat contrast, subdued color, things like that, so that you could grade from the filmic process inside of your camera body and then go above and beyond that to give you a cinematic look, which is where LUTs or lookup tables come in, where you start grading the footage and it becomes a finished product based off of a stylistic approach, which is why you'll have the teal and orange LUT, or you'll have the magenta cyan or orange and cyan, something like that, kind of like the teal and orange, but they use like magenta and blue a lot. So you gotta kind of know these things when you deal with cinematic and filmic. Well, how this plays into effect is, long story short, your TV out of the box is either going to be sapped with low, contrast and everything because of energy saving modes, hit with blue light so that it counteracts the blue light in the retail environments. Again, power versus power, fighting fire with fire. They need the blue to hit the blue. Again, we're talking about the light source. Or they're literally just doing the filmic approach, which makes everything look like ungraded log footage, flattened contrast, so that, again, they focus on midtones. And when you focus on midtones, everything it's good. Midtones are safe, but they're dull, they're dim, they're washed, and they don't look very good. And that's the thing. So that's what they aim to do, and that's why our TVs look bad out of the box. And so that's why I tell you guys, out of the box, you're probably never going to see what I'm talking about. Literally never. You're going to have to do the work to see it. But I think that series that I'll run showing believe me, it's limited. When you look up free settings online, there ain't many people that do settings because they're hard. You'll see what I'm talking about. The more I show side-by-side examples to show you what it looks like to what it should look like. You know what I mean? Because it's not all supposed to look like ungraded log footage, but it does. Okay, now I see a couple people here saying A, or the same person saying A. I imagine that's for option A. That's kind of the only person that responded to the question. So we're just going to go, I guess, with what was option A? I believe option A was based off of use case, and the second was based off of the panel type. So we'll do it off of use case. So before I get into the questions here, let's just dive right in by talking about the use cases and what we can expect, okay, for the best TV of 2025. So best TV for PS5, Xbox of any kind, Series X, whatever, Nintendo Switch of any kind, is going to be your Samsung S90F. Why? Because it's more affordable than the S95. While yes, it has a better picture quality, it still has all the same features that you need, fast enough refresh rate, HDMI 2.1 ports across every single port, and it's got tremendous speakers way over the 95, the LG G5, the LG C5, and every TV in any category that I've tested outside of literally one, the Panasonic Z95B, which is significantly more expensive, all while having significantly greater color throw by a lot and tremendous brightness that will absolutely knock you to the floor. And when you factor all that in with its tremendous motion processing and game mode, along with all of its game features with the game bar and giving you all the different presets in game mode, that is by far the only way to game in 2025 because it is the smartest choice. Yes, you might have a better picture some ways, but you won't have the whole kit and caboodle like you will with the S95F, like when you have sound, when you have color, when you have brightness, when you have everything working in tandem together, along with the brilliant motion on that TV as well, you're going to enjoy it tremendously. Now, the reason something prior like the S90D does not get a mention, or something older on the market that you can still pick up doesn't get a mention, is because this is about 2025 and all the TVs we have in this year. So I'm not focusing on other years. If you find deals in other years, ask me about them some other time. But for the best for 2025, the number one for all gaming of any kind, PC, Nintendo Switch, PS5, Xbox, don't care, Samsung S95F. Now let's switch to the next use case. Best TV for a bright room. No competition, the Samsung S95F, period. Why? Because it has that matte finish screen that diffuses all reflections pretty much tremendously to the point where you're not going to see the glare that you will on other brands and other TVs. Then you counteract that with its immense brightness that can overpower almost anything hitting it with direct sunlight in a room. You're not going to struggle in those brighter environments. And then you factor in the astronomical contrast in color. Guys, I've been working on this TV, and before you guys saw my last video, I did the side by side with the S95D and the S95F. The S95F by far excelled in all of my expectations after, again, going back to the drawing board, giving it more time and effort, and making a better optimization for that product. I'm telling you, it is tremendous. You're not finding a better bright room TV. You could try, you could really try, but for the black levels, the color, the motion is to die for. And I mean, the contrast really is what I'm really honing in on. Contrast with color working together on that TV creates a unique crystal-like appearance where it's just like looking through the TV with a ton of color. I mean, it just gobsmacks you. I've been watching anime, right? And I remember what Future Diaries for my anime watchers watch out there, my anime watchers watching it. I was watching Future Diaries literally last night on the S95F, and I remember what it looked like on even my Bravia A8G, the Sony A95L, the A95K, I remember what it looked like on other TVs, S90, all my other TVs. This was different. It looked upscaled to 4K. It looked so vibrant and so crisp. It was like HDR without being HDR. It was tremendous. It was fucking amazing. But like better than HDR because it doesn't have the, the flatness that it gives certain content pieces, right? It was just perfect all around. I loved it. It was amazing. And so, yeah, Bright Room is automatically going to go to the S95F. Now, the next category that we're going to talk about is the best TV for movies. Now, this one is a bit harder because, I mean, you've got a bunch of different preferences. So, I mean, you could prefer something like the LG, where they can tend to give you better skin tones, but they give you weaker overall color or weaker overall processing for certain things like, again, low bitrate content, things like that. You might run into some more issues in that regard. And then you might have a preference where you might like, LED and whatever. So for this, we might actually have to break it up into categories. So I'll do the best WOLED, the best QD OLED, and the best mini LED for movies because this is a hard category that is wildly preferential. So the best mini LED for movies, hands down, bar none, the 65-inch Hisense U8QG, period. You're not finding a mini LED that is going to be better. You can find one close with the cheaper, more affordable Q75UG, and that, I think, is everyone's bread and butter if you don't have a whole lot of money and you're not very picky and you want a lot of screen size, but still an excellent picture, but not the top of the line, then go that route. Go that route for mini LED. Otherwise, U8QG. Doesn't get any better than that. That's the whole kit and caboodle with the picture quality, the color, the black levels, everything it gives you. That's it right there for mini LED. For WOLED, the best WOLED of the year, hands down, bar none. Don't care what people say about Panasonic. It's too fucking expensive. I'm sorry, and it's kind of ugly because of the speaker design. I mean, I'm sorry, but most people aren't going to jive with it. And the remote is very outdated compared to the winner of that, which would be the LG G5. Best WOLED, point blank, period. You're going to see better contrast. You're going to see better colors. You're going to just have a better experience. It just feels smarter and more modern. Where Panasonic, the way they made their TV, it just feels dated. The user interface feels dated. The remote feels dated. The speakers and the way it sits on the wall, how thick it is, it just feels dated. And most people want a nice, sexy TV in their home, not some big brick that reminds them of, 2008. Sorry, but it's true. And then last but not least, the best QD OLED for movies. And this is where I'm going to have to say, undoubtedly, it's going to be the Samsung S95F again, over even the Sony Bravia 8 Mark II, because the Samsung has this crystal-like appearance. You have to see it with my settings to know what I'm talking about. But when you see it, it's crystal clear, and it's so sharp. And in movies, you've never seen a movie like that. I promise if you don't have that TV, you've never seen a movie like that. It is the greatest experience you could ever have for cinema, period. I have been watching so many different TV shows, movies, and everything, and when I see certain things, I'm going back in the backlog with Samsung Plus, they have the Nickelodeon channel on there, I'm old school. Yeah, Fairly Odd Parents. I'm watching that shit, it looks amazing. I'm watching all kinds of Avatar and all kinds, you know what I mean? And you're looking at it and you're like, damn, like this shit looks amazing. You will love it. You will absolutely love it. And that will cover the best 4 movies. Now, if we're talking, I don't know what's some more niche uses, because I think we've covered the big 3. I mean, that's pretty much what I'd say for those. But I mean, there are always those little onesies and twosies, the little nuanced ones that kind of slip through the cracks. So if you have more questions, now is the time I'm going to be answering your individualized questions based off of everything I've just said. So we're going to start with all that is good. All that is good in me began with you. I don't know what that means. Start rocking your settings, or still rocking your settings on my C1, as I have 2, which is great. Unfortunately, 1 is showing burning. Damn, that sucks. Which do you recommend? The Hisense 7, TCL 7 for 75-inch? Hisense, hands down, there's no competition. TCL is just too muted for colors. If you want a reason how I arrived there, TCL is just too weak on color. They target sour colors out of the box, so you're going to notice that your picture's going to look really yellowish green badly. It's going to be very hard to fix. And then in addition to that, the overall luminosity of the colors is just way too low. Very, very weak. It's just, no. Go with Hisense. They do better in that regard. I would like you to compare the S90F against the Hisense U8QG. Remember, you said the Hisense U8QG makes the S90F garbage. Now that Samsung has updated the S90F, I would like a rematch. Yeah, unfortunately, I no longer have either of those TVs, so I can't do a rematch. And that's the thing. Through the year, they're going to come out with more patches and things like that. And, nobody can hold an entire collection of every TV through the year. So you just got to kind of take the initial comparison before those updates and kind of do it all reviews are like this, by the way. Most reviews can't go back in and repurchase and redo and purchase and redo every firmware. So it is unfortunately usually limited to when they make the product, what you get is what you get. And that's kind of where we are right now. And so I don't know how they perform now. I can't speak to that, only at the time that I had them in front of me and what I saw. I use your incredible settings on my S90D. I appreciate that, brother. Hi, Eric. Eric's, I can never say your last name. I'm just going to mess it up. But hey, what's going on, man? So when I look to the sun, I see the sun immediately. Huh? Wait. When I look to the sun, I see the sun immediately. Does that mean I can see gaster than light? I think I'm just being troll on that one. All right. And for people, I mean, look, whether you love me or hate me, if you've got a troll, I would advise you just kind of table it, because I'm just going to skip over your comment and you're going to write it for nothing, because tonight is really about the viewers and the members, people who actually need this help and need this answer. And it's not fair to them if you're just going to waste their time being petty or saying stupid shit. Like, we don't have time for that. Like, go do something else. Literally, go do something else, because we've got shit to do today. Okay? All right. Shouldn't have to say that to grown men and women, but here we are. All right, so that housekeeping out of the way. What's going on, Christian Conservative? Thanks for stopping by tonight, brother. Which is better on the 7 series this year, Hisense or TCL? Hisense for sure. I have the S95B. Is the S90D or S95D or S90D a better upgrade? The S95D is a better upgrade than the B because of the brightness. The S90D is also a better upgrade. You win with either one of them. So, I mean, you don't lose with either. It's just one's going to be greater. The 95 does have less nerfs than the 95B did. The 95B just got raked over the coals, but the 90D did too, so I can't really say much about that. How's upscaling stuff like football and basketball? Well, I don't watch those mainstay sports. I can say when I've watched contact sports like mixed martial arts and things like that, upscaling on that lower bitrate content has been tremendous. And when I watch the live local news, it's been tremendous as well. I haven't had any issues with upscaling at all on the S95F. Now, if you're referring to a different television, you got to let me know the model. I was in Best Buy today, and they did not have any Hisense TVs on display, which is wild. Yeah, that's pretty wild. Will you ever review the Samsung QN990F? Not likely. I don't really get involved in the mini LED stuff anymore. Do you still recommend the S90 or S90D? Yes, absolutely. TCL question mark. Don't know what that means. Is it hard to recommend the QN90F or D because OLEDs are basically the same price or cheaper in some cases? Yeah, I mean, and that's really what it boils down to. Samsung's LEDs have been on a decline. They just have been, and they don't compete as well as Hisense at the same price point or even below. And for the exact same money, you would almost have to be very unwise with your money to genuinely pay that money out for something that's not going to give you anywhere near the quality of. I mean, if it's clear that they're pushing you in the direction of their OLED, just buy their OLED. You know what I mean? And I can tell you, I've used it for everything from gaming to just using it like a regular TV, and I haven't had any issues. And many people haven't had any issues. A lot of the burn-in scares are really overhyped. They really are. I mean, really, I've left like tiles and all kinds of menus on the screen and went about taking care of the kids and went about living my life and doing my shit. And I'm telling you, I haven't had any issues with it. I think it's the people that literally abuse the hell out of their TVs by turning off all the burn-in care, like Vincent Teo told you to do. Don't do that dumb shit. The reason I tell you that is because you will likely get burn-in faster without the burn-in preventatives. So keep that shit on, and then you should be good. But again, it depends on your preference and also what you're trying to do too. You still recommend the S90D? Yes, I do. What do you think of the QN90D or the QN90F? I think they're subpar, poorly unfinished products compared to what Samsung QLED used to be, and it's just not worth the money. For the same level of quality that you would expect out of those products, you might as well just buy their QD OLED line. A80J settings, I'm not entirely sure. I would check the settings playlist to see if I have anything, or just get with me later when I can send it to you. Big respect to you, Q. Great to see you live, and I love your optimized calibration comparisons. Keep up the amazing articulate craft you're doing. I appreciate that, man. That's really nice. It's good to see that somebody sees what I'm doing and appreciates it. Thank you, brother. LGC5 or S90F? S90F. Quantum, I recently bought the 65-inch U8QG, which has a VA panel out of the box. Picture quality, not good, but with your settings that I rock with, the vivid mode from your U8G worked. Oh, that's really good. I'm glad that it helped you out, even though it's a different model. What do you think would be best? Or what do you think would be the best 80-inch in Best Buy in terms of picture quality? Well, my theory and experience behind the whole bigger thing is the only reason they're pushing bigger resolution or bigger screen sizes is so they can push bigger resolutions like 8K. It's entirely unnecessary, and most of the stuff you're going to watch is not going to be anywhere near that resolution. I mean, if you multiply the spatial resolution, like let's say, 1920 by 2160p for an example, whatever, 1440 by 2160p, whatever it is. You multiply spatial resolution, you'll see how many megapixels you have. And the megapixels represent the amount of expansion or zooming in you can do on an image. When you have a big 80 plus inch TV, you're going to need better processing. None of the TVs are there yet, where they can give you that tack sharp, amazing, perfect picture quality. Even though Samsung definitely claims it with their bigger screen sizes, they still suffer pitfalls with lower bitrate content and low resolutions on a massive screen. So you really have to think about how you're using it. The other thing I would say is bigger screen sizes, even though they're definitely more aesthetically pleasing, they are more expensive. So obviously this going into that, but that doesn't mean that the price is going to match the quality. So for example, I've seen it to where the larger screen size is like an 80-inch will have an IPS screen, but the 65-inch will have a VA panel. Hisense showed us this very clearly with the U8QG. Their larger sizes are just shit. So this is becoming a problem where a lot of the larger sizes aren't meeting quality, and to avoid this, you only have one choice, and that's to go to OLED, and OLEDs don't get bigger than like 77 inches. And if you want the best one for that, I'd say go with the Samsung S95F. That would be what I would recommend. But again, there's just, with the bigger screen sizes, because there's such a novelty right now, and not everybody has obviously an 85-inch TV or plus, it's very hard to find high quality at that because they're just trying to make them cheap and get them out the door and get people to buy them. So there's a lot of unseen problems that I'm noticing in these owners forums, and again, just the daily comments that right now at the present, if it's not an OLED, it's almost not really worth it to go too crazy into thinking about larger. I would stop at 75 inches if I'm being honest with you. I would not go too much farther than that until they improve the tech. That's just what I would say from what I've seen so far. I do plan on buying the S95F, but when is the best time to purchase a TV? Next month or on Christmas? Next month on Christmas sales, or do you suggest buying it soon as you can? I would say as soon as the price is right. You know, there's not really like a definitive time. Once fall hits, you kind of know you're going to be in a window, but I've seen it happen to where sometimes the fall sales are just way better than anything that you'll find even after. So if it sounds like a great deal, take it. Take it. If it sounds good to your pocket, take it. That's what I would say, because that's what I usually do. I don't usually wait for a specific time of year. I wait for a specific price, honestly. If I see a good price, I'm like, fuck yeah. For me, when the Sony Bravia 8 Mark II was $2,200, I was like, well, do I want to pay $25.99 or $24.99 on regular price, marked down from the 30 something, 30 whatever it was, 3,200 whatever after taxes, fuck it, whatever, over $3,000, okay, versus what I paid for it? No, I'll pay 22 after taxes. It'll be 24 and some change, almost 25. Okay, you know, that's how you have to do math with it. Like, if it sounds good enough to where you know it's a fair price for what they're kind of offering, it's like, all right. But otherwise, it's just not worth your time. There's a message held. Let's see. I don't know why it's holding messages. YouTube does this shit to me all the time, though, so I should be used to it, right? Come on, show the message. I don't know. It won't show me the message. You might have to type it again. Sadly, the X930E no longer works anymore. Yeah, that is really sad, actually. Those were the last of the really good edge-lit TVs. Is the U8N as good as last year's U8? Wait, is it as good as the latest? No. The UN is not even anywhere close to the U8 QG. No, it's not a thing. Is the LG C1 the GOAT? Yeah, it's a great TV for sure. And LG, I think, is you know, they're one of the better ones. The C5 this year, though, is on that other shit. They are amazing this year with the C5. What is the best TV of 2025, mainly for anime, but Netflix and YouTube streaming as well? Currently, I have an LG G4 in a light-controlled room. Thank you. The best, my brother, is going to be an S95F. Because I'm telling you, when you see it with the headroom for brightness that it has, with the immense vibrancy it has, you have three ways of pulling out color out of the TV. One, you can go the saturation route. I wouldn't recommend it, but you could do it. The second, turning on Auto HDR Remaster, toggling it on and off this year, toggling it on intensifies the colors. It gives better renditions of red, better renditions of yellows, purples, things really come alive. Cyans kind of take a little bit of a hit and turn a little bit cooler, but overall it's solid. And then you have the what is it called, Color Booster Pro feature this year, and that will tremendously pump up color, and then you'll be like in color Candyland. It'll be amazing. And if you use all three of those approaches together, forget about it. It's just like the most oversaturated thing you've ever seen. So you want to balance it a bit. But primarily, what I like to do, I like to disable the Color Booster Pro, and I like to keep color at the default. And then I like to use the Auto HDR remastering feature. Tremendous color out of the gate just with that. So you don't have to do too much in that regard. But when you see it with anime, like I was saying earlier on, Future Diaries is something I'm watching right now, man. I'm giving you a real world example, and I've never seen it look like that. It's an older anime, and all other TVs before this, you saw the grain, you saw the issues with the processing, you saw what color was. It was vibrant, but not. This shit is like nothing I've ever seen before. Future Diaries is like a 4K cinematic piece. I have proper lighting. I have proper shadows. I have amazing contrast. The buildings are three-dimensional. Like episode 2 with that one chick that was trying to blow up the school or whatever she was trying to do in the show. It was tremendous to see how much detail was in that for just streaming. So for YouTube, it's going to be amazing. On anime on Netflix, I'm currently watching Frieren. And it's some of the best colors I've ever seen. Like, it's just, you have to see it to believe it. I mean, it sounds asinine. I get you. You're already a member, so you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Once you join, well, not join, but once you join the S95F side of things, you'll see what I mean. Like, plug in the settings I have for you, blow your fucking mind. You'll be like, damn, this is amazing. Why didn't I do this sooner? So that would be the best, S95F. I'm telling you, that's the step up you're looking for, my brother. But you will still need a sound system because its sound is totally ass, and that's just being 100. What's going on, Miguel? You said, yo, Quantum, I watched your video on what to get, but my Best Buy doesn't have a 65 S90D, but they do have a 77. What should I get? I would go online, brother. I would go to Walmart.com, Target, Best Buy online even, or I would go to Amazon. Anything but settling. Don't settle. I would get a 65-inch S90D because I hear mixed things that the 77 is a W OLED. You don't want a W OLED when it's supposed to be QD OLED. There's literally no point at that point. So I would just go with the 65, and it's an amazing TV. It's literally my mainstay bedroom TV. So I can tell you from experience, that shit is amazing. I was watching Naked and Afraid with my wife last night, enjoying my time with her, looking at the fucking crazy shit people were doing and thinking the whole time, damn, these colors are popping. Look at that. Look at the helicopter. Look at this. Look at that. It's amazing. And then the other thing that I've really gotten into, because I never really, I don't really have time always to watch TV, but when I do, I love to watch it. Power on Amazon Prime. Fucking hell, that show. Whew. You seen this show? The shit they're doing in this show. I mean, I would say it's like 30% softcore porn, 70% action. Like it's fucking ridiculous, this show. I mean, every 5 seconds they need to romp on each other. They're just like, oh shit, I think I'm gonna just come in the door and start straight away. And you're like, what am I watching right now? But it's a good show with a lot of dynamic to it. But the colors are amazing, and when you see the different scenes and where they're at, that's the TV you want to have for it. So that's what I would recommend from personal use, which is why I give you my personal experience with it. TCL QM9 versus LG C4. I have not seen the TCL QM9, so I can't really say. Is it really necessary to purchase a soundbar for my square room if I'm buying an S95F? Yes. And maybe no. If you're not picky and you don't care about bass, then no, fuck it. Because I can tell you, when I watch anime, I don't turn on my soundbar all the time. I got the Sony Z9F soundbar, and I don't know what's going on with it, where I can't get it to turn on when the TV turns on, so I have to have the remote for the soundbar and turn that on, and then struggle a bit to like sync them both up. Not sync them up, but like I have to turn it on and make sure it's connected through the speaker list. And I'm like, do I really want to do all that? Have it make sure it's always set to the optical and do all. No, I don't want to do all that. Sometimes I just want to turn the shit on and sound comes out. So I mean, it depends on your mood too. And so for me, I think the trebles are really good, and some of the mids on the S95F are enough to get you by, but you have zero bass. It's tinny as fuck. So that's why I say you need a sound system, because it's just not going to work either way if you want bass and you want to hear the explosions of movies. And I'm not going to be the hypocrite and have a whole ass sound bar and be like, well, you don't need one. You definitely do, because I have one. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be the guy teaching this shit and being like, no, you don't need to do what I'm doing. Do something worse. No, I would say even if you buy a cheap one with some good bass, just have a little something. Don't go crazy. You don't need to go crazy, because sound bars fucking die on you. They do. It just buy enough to give you the feeling that you're looking for. And again, one of my big tips for buying sound systems, sound bars, whatever you buy, go in with a USB flash drive. It'll cost y'all maybe 50 to 60 bucks to buy one if you go on the high end. Download content that you want to hear. YouTube videos, whatever it is. I can't tell you how to download videos, but I can tell you, if you look it up, it'll present itself. You download what you need, you put it on a flash drive, you go into the store, you plug it into the USB port on your soundbar, or on that soundbar, or you have it already on your phone because you just downloaded it, and you Bluetooth it. Bluetooth is a great way, because then you can have literally wireless, so you know if there's a wired connection, it'll be better. And then you get to see how it handles, again, the wireless part of things, and what the sound is like, and for your unique content, whether it's explosions in Star Wars or whether it's your favorite audiobook, you'll be able to hear everything the way it's supposed to be heard, the way you need to hear it to know if you should pick it up or not. And that's how I do it. So that's just a little pro tip there. But yes, I would say you do need a soundbar. Used your rec and settings to purchase the S90D. The image is still too dim for my liking. Trading it for the S95F next week. In your testing, will it be more bright in filmmaker mode than the S95D? I would say not really. They're about the same. I mean, I think honestly, the D is brighter overall, because the D globally brightens up everything. The F is intelligent. Now, what I will say is this, though. I see you are a member, so you don't have to worry. I've already done the work for you. All you've got to do is snag my settings for the S95F, and you're good. That's all you got to do. because I can guarantee you if it's too dim for your liking, you're gonna like the next batch of settings that I've been working on. It's so hard, by the way. I have HDR in the background and I have 2 SDR settings that I got to put out, but you'll see what I mean. You'll see the brightness, you'll see the intensity, and then I'll also have something a little dimmer for some nighttime environment. So I have a day and night setting as well for that. But you'll see what I mean. It's gonna be amazing. Oh, shout out to Scott Woodford. I literally just seen you. Thanks for being a VIP member for 52 months. Is that incredible or what, man? That's absolutely amazing. All right, so you have a question here, and you said, question, should up my C1 to, should you upgrade your C1 to the C5? No, I wouldn't say go that route. I'd say truly go Quantum.OLED if you are going to upgrade, because it's way more of an upgrade. Like the C1 to the C5, yeah, there's an upgrade, but it's not like, wow, that's an upgrade. Like the C1 to the S95F or the S90F or the S90D or the S95D is like going from wow to holy shit. And I'm speaking from experience because I too have an LG C1. Love that TV. It's amazing. It's very close to QD-OLED level, and the C5 was very close and it's amazing. But when you see what Quantum.OLED does for the red, very specifically, and the brightness and the contrast and the way it does upscaling and its motion processing for certain things, you're gonna be blown away. It's just, the C1 is amazing, but they take it a step further, and you've got to see it to believe it. And that's where I would point you to say, just, you want a real upgrade, go to Quantum.OLED and see what changed between WOLED to Quantum Dot, because man, oh man, do I really love it. It's the best. For 4K movies, C5 versus S95F. S95F all day, or S90F all day. Have you reviewed the 2025 Hisense U8? Yeah, I have. It's absolutely amazing. What size was that? The 55 has some black level issues, but the 65 that I plan on getting my hands on, so I've seen it, but I haven't reviewed it. From what I've seen, tremendous. Can't wait. But I have to run it through my paces and everything, but I'm telling you, it's probably going to be what I know it to be. Because VA versus IPS, VA is naturally going to give better black levels, so we're good. U8QG or S90F? Ooh, you asking a hard question now. Well, how important are viewing angles for you? In my setup, the way I have it, it's paramount. I can't live without viewing angles. I need them for my setup, because I'm one of those weirdos that has 2 TVs in a room, okay? So, my wife's watching what she's watching on the main TV in the front, so she gets the comfortable view, but I'm the one that's looking off at an angle, and I got my TV off at an angle. So I need those viewing angles. That's important to me. If you have a similar setup, that's important to you. If you're viewing your TV straight on, maybe not as important, right? So then it boils down to brightness. Well, the S95 or the S90F is going to be better for darker scenes. The U8QG is still going to struggle coming out of black. So campfire scenes, stoplights, stars in the sky, laser lights and stars. That beautiful scene in Guardians of the Galaxy with Groot with the fireflies. I mean, you're going to struggle with those scenes. So that's where you're going to want to go with the S95F. The contrast, though, in the brighter scenes is tremendous, and I've leaned heavily towards the U8QG. So it depends on the scene and what you're watching. Will glassless 3D become a future trend? Not likely. Welcome to the VIPs, man. I didn't even see you. Manfred? And I don't know how to say your last name. Pia? I don't know. I am sorry. I'm butchering it already. So I will just say, Manfred, welcome to the family, brother. And we have the Christian Conservative. What's going on, brother? You said, what's the future of QTV looking like? You said, they're 2 separate questions. Okay. Well, the future of QTV is we're going to keep doing what we've been doing. But, I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. With YouTube and the way they're doing the algorithms now, views are just low. I mean, I used to average, 4,000 views easily. It wasn't hard to do. And now I'm struggling to break 2,000 views. It's just the way the landscape is. Some of my favorite creators that I watch, some of the photographers and stuff, they used to easily break, again, similarly, 4,000 to 5,000. And now they're struggling within an hour to even get 200 views, 199 views on one of my favorite creators in 2 hours. It's asinine what they're doing with the views. I don't know what's going on. But then there are those people that just never struggle. They just don't have a bad day for views. So I mean, it is what it is. I don't take that as a means to get jealous or see people and be like, oh, you have that. I look at it like they're proof. They're proof you could still do it on the platform. You just have to figure out how and try harder. And that's what I've been trying to do. But at the same time, some currents you just have to ride out. And it is what it is. I can tell you, as far as the channel goes, we are not making a lot of money. We are making well below minimum wage. To put it in perspective, just to give you a little bit of the house information that other YouTubers, like, they clamor down and they don't tell you. I'll tell you because you're part of the community that makes this all possible. We make, for every 2 weeks, we only make $400 every 2 weeks. I don't know how it's sustainable to buy $3,000, $2,500 TVs when I'm only making $400 every 2 weeks. That's $800 a month. That's nothing. That's nothing for this channel and the overhead. We would spend way more than what we're taking in. So I have to come out of my income and take away from my family, things like that. And I'm not going to lie, I've been struggling because of it. Big time. But at the same token, that's where I lean on the community and say, hey, if you can donate $1, it helps. Anything you could do to help the channel, keep operating and keep getting models in, that's what we could do. Outside of that, I'll still keep the same quality of videos. I'll still be working like I'm working. It's just I might not be able to reach as far as I used to in the past because income has changed. So we have to adapt to these new changes and financial struggles because it is what it is. I mean, the only way I could do it is, again, just significantly cutting back on the amount of televisions that I buy. As much as that would suck, I can't afford it anymore. And because I can't afford it anymore, I'm going to have to do other things and be more creative in different ways. Doesn't mean my expertise is any less. Doesn't mean I'm not going to review products. It just means I have to be very selective. Before I would let people say, oh, I want to see the C5 or, oh, I want to see, the U6. I now have to decide if that U6 is make or break for the channel, if we'll get the revenue for it that we need to do more reviews, or if it's just going to hold us back and spend what little we already don't have. So I have to budget it. It is what it is. And so the future of it is looking like a lot of penny pinching and a lot of buckling down and strapping in, asking for donations where you guys can spare them. If you can help out, you could keep this going for us. We could do more. That would be beautiful. I would appreciate it. If you can't, I understand too. But regardless, I'm going to do my best for everybody. And that's basically what the future is looking like, brother. Q, I knew once you sit on the S95F, it would be better. I noticed it was the same with the S90D versus the S95B. Yeah, that's entirely fair and true. And I don't think this part is fairly represented in reviews in general. Like, what makes my reviews a bit different is that, yes, I'm reviewing the same products, but I'm kind of a perfectionist too. I don't just say, okay, this is my verdict and this is perfect and everything I said was flawless and I can never be wrong about anything ever. I'm the man and I'm perfect because I'm me. And I'm a special little boy with my special little boy hat. Can you see it? Can you see it? No, because it doesn't exist, right? So I always go back to the drawing board and I say, okay, what do we need to do to be better? And I'm always up late nights, all hours of the night, trying to rework the wheel. I mean, I probably give my wife so much fucking anxiety, I'm not going to lie, because I'm always on my damn phone, literally going through the numbers, the analytics, what I've done that works, what doesn't work, going back to the drawing board a million one times like a compulsive moron, like it's going to do anything, but I still try my best. And I arrive at different ways of presenting information. I'm in here in the test lab for hours, calibrating up TVs, trying to find different approaches. I did it that way this time, so let's try it this way. And the point of that is, I always get to a point where there is always something else I learned when I compare it up against a different TV. And that's the secret. If you're comparing it with itself, it's going to only stay where it could be. But if you have something with different color science and a different set of features, and a different R&D department that created different features to look a certain way, and then you go to another TV and you say, let me mimic the look of that TV. Use this as the reference monitor, and then make that look like this. You arrive at magical shit, and that's how I keep doing it. I use one great TV as a reference monitor, and I try to make one look good, and it elevates. And so the reason why the S95D also had that same issue as the S95F, which it elevated after the fact, is because these TVs came out after the fact, and I got them after the fact, which will never be included in the final review or things like that. It's with time. And that's the other part of what your question earlier, the future of quantum TV. I probably won't be able to do that as much for as many models because in order to do that, I'm literally looking at a wall covered in TVs right now, like a whole wall of them. I can't afford to do that for everything. So I have to pick and choose maybe like one TV a year that we keep and we do that with, and it's going to let a lot of people down because there used to maybe 2 or 3 models we do that with. I can't do it with everything. But I can tell you that we can get other models to the point. And I think I'm just going to pick a champion, say, hey, my champion that I say buy it or don't, your choice, but this is the one that's going to get that kind of attention. And I think that's the best way to do it because otherwise people get let down. But yes, it definitely can get better. I don't think I've hit my plateau, I would say. I think the C1 taught me a lesson for sure. I thought the C1 was maxed out. I didn't think it'd go any further. I put it up against the Hisense U75 QG, and then there it goes, taking off and looking even better than it ever looked. So it happens like that sometimes. With a lot of focus, you definitely can pull out a bit more. Saw your C5 review, and I'm using your Vivid Mode settings. Xbox and PS5 looks amazing and plays well. Now I'm curious to see the S95. Well, I'll tell you, if you've seen the C5 and the magic I pulled off on that bad boy, wait till you see the S95. You're going to probably there's this moment, right? As us enthusiasts have, right? When we're geeking out on something. But you ever have that moment when you're watching a movie, right? And you're so into it, right? You're like, fuck, this is my shit. For me, it's Solo Leveling all day, every day. So I'm watching Solo Leveling, right? Sung Jin Woo is coming out there and he's fucking up whoever, right? And he's fucking summoning people and shit. I'm like, oh shit, this is amazing. Oh fuck. And you get to that point where you need it to be perfect, right? And for me, it's that Beru fight, whatever you want to call him. He's going up against that ant and they're clashing and they're twisting around, doing all this crazy shit. When those colors, the blue and the red, hit so intensely on the S95F with the contrast, the separation of those highlights, everything, that's where I was like, oh my gosh, I love this TV. I love this TV. There's just no other way around. I've never seen anime look like that. And when you get me to say something I've watched that episode at least 1,000 times, not gonna lie, it looks amazing. And then the recent episode for my anime watchers of My Hero Academia, wow, dude, what the fuck? I came for an episode and I got a movie. Because of what they're doing in that fucking shit. Dude, I won't spoil it for anybody, but the colors, oh my gosh. And I was glued. And I've watched this episode twice now. I think last night, I actually rewatched it. I was on the edge of my seat again, like a little kid. I was like, oh shit, that's fucking dumb. What the fuck? It was so exciting. Probably gonna watch it a third time thinking of how good it looks. This should tell you, look at this excitement. This should tell you need an S95F in your life with my optimizations because I'm telling you, it changes everything. That is not a plug. I don't know very many guys that be out there like, yo, my settings are $5. I'm plugging myself. Greedy people will charge $100 easy for what I'm doing. I'm telling you this because you have to see it. I'll sound like a madman. You get the S95F the way I got it. Go watch my original review and first impressions of the S95F. I didn't like it. I fucking hated the TV. I literally took that TV and started it up against this wall and where all the other TVs were. And I only touched it for comparisons. I fuck that TV. It's ugly. It's flat. They didn't do shit with it. They were lazy. It's when you get in there and you dig and you dig and you put work in, you can actually see the magic. And it's there. And fuck, am I happy with it. So take this as yes, you will absolutely enjoy it. But yeah, that's what I would say there. But I appreciate you enjoying the settings. But yes, the S95F does take it a bit further. Get the S90D or C5, guys. Have a good night. I would say S90D more than any of the other ones like WOLED. Hey man, thanks for all your hard work between the S90D, S90F, S95D. Which would you recommend if money isn't the issue? And knowing that, I hope to use your settings. S95F, hands down, for sure. Will the S95F be good to view with WWE, AEW, UFC? Brother, you're speaking my language. All those shows I love. And yeah, you're going to love it. You're going to see entrances when those superstars come out. They're rocking their theme music. They're coming out and they're doing their thing. You're going to be in love. You're going to be like, I don't know how I ever went without watching this before, but I ain't going back. That's what it'll do to you. So if you're not ready to be spoiled, don't get an S95F with my settings. Don't do it. Would you consider the S90D still a better TV than the F or 95F? I mean, yeah, considering price to value ratio already, it's better than the F from what I've tested. That might flip-flop with what I've learned working with the F, the 95F. So the 90F potentially could raise up, but I don't have the funding to go and get it again and test it again, so I won't be able to say that. Only operating off of what I know, the D did have significantly better contrast, and that was the one thing I did see. But I mean, they're all exceptional TVs too. Where I would personally be is the 95F. I'm laying my hat on that as the best TV period for most things. I've got the Hisense U8H. I've noticed recently that Sports Picture seems to have that Sports Mode seems to have the best picture quality. What about that particular preset makes it look so good? Well, I mean, they target a lot more of the blue wavelength and higher contrast, so you can have jerseys pop more crisp, so that you can see more depth when you're out there on the field, or the isolation of the ball in the hand. It's just designed to do something different, and that is probably more aesthetically pleasing to you, as the other picture presets are either made for, again, energy saving type shit for regulation so they can push more units out, or sucking out all the color for accuracy modes so that it just adheres to people who have just culturally accepted that washed out log footage is just filmic and natural because that's the way that it comes out of a camera. And then there's people like us that know that it can look a little bit better. And that's probably what you've seen, and you like higher contrast. Some people like lower contrast because that's just how some things are. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'd say with that. Hello, I just got the LG C5. Do you have settings for this TVQ? Yes, I do. See the playlist for more. Hey, Quantum, I would like your advice. So basically, I can purchase the 55-inch S95F, and it can include a free soundbar, or I can get cash back. What do you suggest? I would suggest a soundbar because it's absolutely necessary, and any cash back you'd get, you'd end up spending on a soundbar once you hear how shitty the audio is on it. I genuinely really appreciate your response, Q. You seem like such a down-to-earth, grounded person that wants the best for everyone. I just wanted to say that that's all. 100%. I appreciate it, man. I mean, what you see is what you get with me. I really am like this in my everyday life, and I just talk to you guys because, I mean, I don't do the YouTube thing like people do, like in the arrogant way, like where it's all like putting on airs. Why? I'm me. I'm a person in the world. Who really is a Mickey Mouser every day? I mean, these people are overly positive, can't say a negative thing. Good for you. For me, it's not sustainable because I'm a human being. So if I'm pissed off about something, I'm gonna tell you I'm pissed off about something. I'm not gonna sit there and be like, I'm fine, and then the whole time you're dying inside. Fuck that. I'm gonna be a real raw person, and that's gonna push a lot of people away. Look, I haven't been in the game for 10 years, over 10 years, and not at 100,000 where other guys pick it up in 3 months. They get 100,000 like nothing, subscribers like nothing. You know, because the people who fuck with me, they fuck with me because I'm genuine, not because I'm fucking kissing ass or giving lip service, because I'm not going to change my values to match what gets me clout. I don't care about clout. I care about building something with people. Because, you know, nothing would suck more than to get on these live streams and have Debbie Downers where you can't ever say nothing negative or nothing real or raw the way it exists in the world, because at some point they were taught the world has to always go their way. I don't like those kinds of people. And if you haven't heard it from me first, I can't stand those kinds of people where you always need it your way. And if it doesn't go your way, then fuck everything. You'll unsubscribe, or you can't handle it because you didn't hear what you wanted to hear. Every time I get a person like that, you know what I say? Good riddance. Find what you want. God bless you. I'm not going to deal with you. I'm not going to sit in and deal with your bullshit. That's what I tell people that do that. Now, I've seen it in the comment section so many times. We're like, you're not answering all the member questions, and you're not answering all the questions. I have children, and I have a wife. I have bills, and I have a life. I don't have all day to sit and answer comments, which is why I do live streams. Some people get it. Most people get it. But then there are those entitled brats that think the world has to go their way, and they're like, fuck you. You ought to give me what I want. And I'm one man. Like, do you see people behind me on computers answering comments? No, it's just me. Have a little understanding that, you know, there are thousands of comments that come in across multiple videos in a month. It's a lot of work. So I'm doing that and still somehow finding the time to answer those questions. You know what always trips me out, by the way? Just smashing that fourth wall for you. Okay, you know what always trips me out is when those people that get their gripes across, they don't just say what their question is. Because if I can obviously see you and respond to your complaint, I would have seen your question if you asked it again. Sometimes it's all you have to do is just ask again and I'll answer you. But you'd rather be bitching so you don't get your question answered. You're like, you didn't answer me. And then I answer you. I'm like, I would have answered you on this. What's your problem? And then they never respond back. It's like, oh, he just came to bitch. And that's also a thing too. But I always appreciate people like you, man, that appreciate a down-to-earth person, because I love my down-to-earth folks too, which is most of you guys watching right now, which shout out to all of you guys, wherever you are in the world and whatever you're doing right now. Thank you for being a part of this live stream tonight. Thoughts on the Hisense U8QG? It's an excellent TV. Loving the LG C5 with your settings in 2025. I appreciate that. Basketball never stops. And you're one of my longer members too, man. You've been here a minute. Definitely as a subscriber for sure. I appreciate you, brother. Just bought the 2024 U8N. Should I get the U8QG? And is the U8QG better than TCL's QM9? I would get the U8QG 65-inch, and I would call that a day. It is absolutely, in my view, better than anything TCL does, because TCL is, as much as it's going to sound cruel and harsh, TCL is the poor man brand. I mean, TCL is what you buy when I mean, look, you can have the same exact money with Hisense, okay? But TCL gives you poor man stuff. And when I mean poor man, poor is a mindset. Okay, it's not a financial situation. You're poor-minded, meaning you don't research things properly. You don't look at all your options. You only encompass yourself in what you want to hear. Because I remember when I did my review of the TCL QM8K, one thing I kept telling people is very blurry, that TV. And it's so disappointing because Hisense is crystal clear, and they could do it too for the same price, and they're not. It's a poor man's TV. It literally looks like a cheap TV trying to be rich. Hisense looks like a rich TV that's priced down to affordable everyday prices. So that's why I always steer people towards Hisense over TCL, because TCL is just chuff ass shit, cheap, garbage, no good. Don't waste your time with it. That's from experience though. And so again, it's not about being rich, it's about mindset. But yeah, that's what I would say. You're better off with the Hisense U8 for sure though. Which is better, the U7 or U8? That depends on pocketbook, but the U8 typically is going to be better. Q, any plans for the S85F? A comparison to the D might look interesting. I wouldn't waste my time. I suspect the D would be vastly better anyway. The F is just, or the 85F is, again, it's just the step down version from the 90 series. Don't take a step down. You're always going to have a compromise somewhere. Hello from beautiful France. Love to hear it. Welcome. I appreciate when you guys rep for your places, your hometown, where you're from. That's always cool to see. How to open HDMI override menu on the LG C5 with the new Magic remote. I would try to buy a regular remote. It's like $6 on Amazon. And then you just go in there and you type in 1113111. If you need help with that, get with me in the comments and I'll do my best to help you out. Donald said hi. What's going on, Donald? Apple Jelly said hi. What's going on? Another comment held for review. Fuck, this is, I don't know why everything is being hidden. I can't open that comment. It won't let me. Which is better, the Hisense or TCL 65-inch? I would say the Hisense. Solo Leveling Season 3, can't wait. Fuck yeah, man. Shit, I cannot wait for this shit. I want to spoil something for you right now, but I'm not going to because I'm not that asshole. But damn, if you read the manga, you know what's coming. And if you haven't, I would kind of lean you towards kind of just peeking ahead to see what we're going to get. Because even if you peek ahead, when it gets animated, it's going to be way better. Because like that Biru fight in the manga, yeah, it was great. But they weren't doing all that shit. And like that the anime was doing, they weren't doing all that. And that's what I love when I see that too. So Season 3, can't wait for sure. Absolutely. I'm hyped for sure. I'm also waiting for One Punch Man too, though. I mean, they got to cook on that already too. I have the LG G5 and want to compare it to your S95F comparison video. It seems bright. I don't. Very bright, maybe. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you want to compare it, sure. And for anybody that has like a television that I don't have, like the G5 or anything from 2025, whatever it is, and you want me to compare it, you can always send me photos too of something that like I can give me a reference point of an actual demo on YouTube or something, and take a video of it or whatever, and go over to the Patreon and just join for free. And then you can have access to the Patreon community. The Patreon community, by the way, in case I haven't put this out there, that's where we do all the stuff we can't do on YouTube. Because YouTube has this like really strict copyright system to where you can't do anything. On Patreon, I could show more movies. Examples, like people can ask for specific movies and I can put them up and show certain examples within fair use, obviously, but YouTube will just flag you because Hollywood gets the general bat to hit you with. So I like a platform that allows me to kind of go in there and do what I need to do and show you what you want to see. And we can do that over on Patreon. But a benefit to you is you can actually send me photos too of content that you like to watch, and I can do side-by-side comparisons based off what you see and what I see, just see how they compare if you ever just wanted to see that. So, you know, if you haven't already, go over to the Patreon. To join is free. If you want access to some of the settings, obviously it's $5 for the HDR stuff, you know, and some other stuff that'll come later on in the pipeline. I got to work on the classes, but we'll get all that done and taken care of. But regardless, you guys have what it is. So nice for TCL to what? So nice TCL possibly use similar tech. Oh, okay, yeah. Sup Quantum, what's going on, man? You said love your settings on my TCL Q6MK. Thanks, bro. Always, man. I appreciate you loving it and sharing the feedback with everybody. Will you be making S90F settings? I won't be able to. Those actually got lost in a folder somewhere. I did make them, but I don't know what the hell happened. Your best bet is to use my 95F settings, though, since they are so damn similar, if I'm being very honest with you. What's up, Q? I'm wondering, wait, I'm about to pick up the 77-inch C5 during the week. I'm sub to your Patreon and was wondering if HDR settings will apply to Dolby Vision or I don't know if they'll apply to Dolby Vision because I don't really do Dolby Vision very often. It's kind of dimmer and not really worth it, but you can always try for sure to see if they work out. What's the deal about the S95F with a free soundbar? Shall I buy it or wait, you said, should I buy it or wait till Christmas? I feel like a broken record. I would just buy it, man. If it comes with the sound bar, I mean, that's kind of a sweet enough deal if the sound bar is of a high enough class and good enough quality. But if it's bullshit, then, I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, when I bought my S90D and my S95D, they came with a free TV. It's a cheap-ass TV, I grant you. It wasn't anything to write home about, but you know what? It came with it. And I used those TVs. I mean, gave a couple to my in-laws and, the other ones I gave to the kids, But, I mean, it's pretty badass that, you can have small children with a big-ass TV. So, they were giving out 65 inches like fucking candy. But they have it, Do you know any children that have that? I don't know. I would have loved that when I was a kid. My own big-ass screen TV. My spoiled-ass kids. But I love them anyway. But you get what I'm saying. If it's a good enough deal, do it because it might benefit you in a way that maybe you would not have been able to. Big Smoke, what's going on? You said, may God give me plenty of women to sit on my face. What the fuck? I mean, I don't know if you really want that in this day and age, man. I don't think you realize what you're asking for. A lot of women these days, not exactly the purest, let's just put it that way. And that's an energy exchange you might not want. As your brother in Christ, I will give you advice. Find one good woman, be loyal and faithful to her, and do everything the right way by her. That's all you got to do. You don't need a bunch of women running around here. That ain't the life. It ain't the life. It's an empty life. Romp on this one, romp on that one, or worse, go tearing up the streets because somebody tore your heart up. It's not worth it, man. Don't do that. You're better than that. I know you're better than that. But that's just what I'll say. That being said, though, and Apple Jelly TV said, well said, Quantum. I appreciate that. That pretty much concludes the live stream. I think we covered a lot of ground. I will try to keep to the Friday schedule, but if life happens to me where I'm busy with the kids or with the wife, you guys know what it is. I know my wife was supposed to come on this live stream, at least talking, because she's probably not going to show her face on it. But, I didn't get the chance to get her in here because, she didn't feel like it. And if she doesn't feel like it, I'm not going to pressure her into doing it, as you guys know. Again, kind of leaning into what I said earlier on where, again, be good to your woman. That's what you got to do. And with that, I'll probably leave you guys by answering this last question. Which is better, the S90D on firmware 12.01 or the S95F? I know you can't compare side by side anymore, but you've seen both, so I figured I'd ask. I would still go with the S95F. I do have the S90D still. I own that outright. Along with the S95F, I could compare them, but there's genuinely probably no point because I know for a fact off of just owning them and seeing them, the S95F over the S90D is way better when you talk about contrast for sure. And that's just as honest as it gets. But that being said, I got to get back to my family. If I didn't answer your question, don't take it personally. Just get with me next week and I will do what I can to answer them. Again, you guys have been amazing. Thank you for participating and being a part of this community. And you guys have a blessed and safe night, and I'll see you next week.